It's Caribou Weather Dude time, everybody. I'm Joey Only. That's me, Caribou Weather Dude, up here in Wells, BC, 3,935 feet above sea level at 53 degrees north in the Caribou Mountains. Wells, beautiful Wells, British Columbia. We got a snowstorm coming to BC, and it's going to be a gooder. Stay tuned for all the bad weather news right here. Let's go.
There it is.
This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later.
They dry up in this.
Okay, everybody, hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, help me grow the channel. That thanks button, that's a great one when people give those small donations. Really, really thankful for that. All you channel members, you're keeping me going. All you patrons who give to a monthly donation on Patreon, you are all keeping me going. That's why this channel is able to be here still at this time in my life. Okay. News. So I did have a great meeting this morning with Mayor Ed Coleman here in Wells. See, like a week ago, I was doing the Joey thing, just telling the world what I think, and nothing wrong with that. Perhaps, I guess it comes from this. It comes from this perspective that you grow up in poverty. You got this piece of shit dad who goes to prison. You've learned. Your mental health got affected, so you've been stigmatized at times in your life. You just get used to not being taken seriously. You figure people aren't going to take me seriously, so I'm just going to talk because no one's going to actually listen anyways. So what was convinced to me was that people in authority here in Wells would take what I'm saying seriously. So I've engaged already with Mayor Ed and about wildfire planning in Wells. We're going to look at some maps next week, and things will happen, and I mean, that's for us here in Wells, but good. This is what I want to see, positive openness, and hey, we have a good one here with Ed, so I knew he'd be open to it once I decided, okay, I'm gonna actually do the official channels here and go about it properly. Regarding my concerns about wildfire season, okay, well, look at this. We know our snowpack hasn't improved very much in January. We know that a lot of places don't have snow. We know it's a good thing that the snowstorm's coming to bring some more. We know in behind it is the possibility of some really frigid Arctic cold, some extreme high pressure next week that I'm not looking forward to. Right? We're concerned that we don't get this storm train that we want in February. It's quite likely we will, but my concern is we really need it. Look at this, okay? This is a great example. So our friends Dick and Sandy, they own the Bear River Mercantile, down at Bowen Lake there. In fact, they used to own this very place that I'm sitting in. They're the ones that turned the living space I'm currently sitting in into a living space back in the day, interestingly enough. They say yesterday Barry Stanley flew over the park, over Bowen Lakes Park, on January 26th to check out the ice conditions because he's preparing for an annual winter trek that he's going to do around the Bowen Chain. However, what he found was very surprising. There is a lot of open water on the lakes. Lanese did not have an ounce of ice on it. Isaac was just as bad. People have never seen this here. Wolverine Bay was just about wide open. This is Isaac Lake here on the east side of Bowen Provincial Park. And you can see Isaac's not looking too bad. A little bit of open water at the end there, though, and the ice looks spotty, patchy. Doesn't look strong. Looks like the current has made areas unsafe, right? Okay, you might recognize this here. This is the Caribou River. This past fall, I climbed up this mountain right here. That's Ishpa Mountain, right? And I looked this direction. So that's Lanese Lake, clearly visible. And down here is where the shelter is that you would go to as you're paddling the chain. Lanese Lake, completely ice-free, completely open. And here's the top end of Swan, where you can see soft spots in the ice that are unsafe. All those things are very concerning. No one has really ever seen that before. So it's good that we're having some snow come. It's good that there's some cold coming in behind it. For that regard, right, we do kind of require that winter weather to come back. Okay, let's look at what's going on right now because we got some snowfall warnings out there already. All this, of course, for that northwestern section of British Columbia, where we expect to see all this winter storm beginning today. 25 to 35 centimeters into the Stewart area. We reported on this in the last forecast. Rapidly accumulating snow will be a result of the weather system moving into northern British Columbia. Over Stewart, light snow will begin this morning and intensifying already by noon. I think it's already 12:34 as I'm sitting here recording, so it's an afternoon episode for everybody who's watching. 10 centimeters expected in the Dease area as well. I do have a little bit of air quality statements for the Prince George area. That won't last too long. This weather will change that, so the high pressure's keeping your air particulates into the valley there. I get that extreme cold warning in northern Ontario for minus 45. Still very, very cold. And that continues over to Quebec. A little bit warmer there. 38 below. That's wind chill values, but still, I don't like wind chill values, but they like to report that in Environment Canada. Wind chill values of minus 55 for Maladine, Esker, Territorial Park up in Nunavut, all that area around Rankin Inlet, northern Quebec, and then even into Newfoundland. Seeing this stuff, wind warnings, 100 kilometers an hour max, and blizzard warning to the far north, right? Going down to southern Ontario, where we're looking at more weather coming at you guys. It's moving in towards you again, so look forward to more heavy snow into Alberta by Wednesday morning, into Ontario from this Alberta Clipper by Wednesday morning. Over on the East Coast, what's happening? Wind warning continues there for 100 kilometer an hour gusts in the Avalon Peninsula this evening, and then out towards Frankie McDonald, Sydney, into the Highlands. That special weather statement, you could see 15 centimeters of snowfall there, Frankie. Just over in the Newfoundland, east side of Newfoundland, snow squall watch, 60 to 70 kilometer an hour winds there. That's for Deer Lake, Humber Valley, Green Bay, White Bay. Into Wednesday evening, flurries will organize into areas of snow squall activity as cold westerly winds strengthen. Where's your global warming now, Joey? Here it is. It's right here, actually, as a matter of fact, buddies. Grand Prairie, 7.2 degree new record high there yesterday, 27th of January already, yes. So we are the 28th today, by the way. High level seeing 11.2 degrees. That's insane, my friends, insane. Even some temperature records getting smashed in the Fort Nelson area, 11.8 degrees yesterday. The old record, 3.7. They've been keeping records up there since 1937. So a long time. And the old record was 3.7, and see you later 3.7. We are just flying past that. Absolutely insane. Northwest Territories, they got like, well, we can up that at Fort Liard, 12.4 degrees. Man, like this is really rocking through some incredible, these are incredible breakings of daily temperature records. This is not a small leap. This is a really large jump. Wind speeds in Quebec in some places up to 100 kilometers an hour, like in Saint-Hubert. Montreal seeing 96s. Anguigon 101. So some pretty heavy winds there. Yukon also though seeing warm records for like Haines seeing 7.2 degrees. Kluane 6.7. Now that's the Arctic up there more or less. It's subarctic, but it's not weather that you would expect to see too often in Whitehorse. And just to corroborate that a little bit, I mean, it's minus 0.2 right now in Wells this afternoon right now. Like I say, the 12 o'clock hours when I'm recording this. Got down to 13.6 last night, so that was actually warmer than it's been. So if we just look at the last month here in Wells, and really the real story was things going like so-so, and then we look at these big fluctuations, and we're seeing that in Fort Nelson right now too, right? Where we hit our warmest we've seen all month, 5.8. I think that's warmer than we've seen maybe December we've seen higher than that. But we also seen the coldest we've seen all winter at that same time. There's 25 degree spread. So very interesting how we've been watching that go up and down the last few days, right? We're in that high pressure. So the nighttime, it's been pretty clear. When it's clear, there's no cloud cover. Things get socked in, and you know how it goes. You get cooler nights, but that sunshine still having a pretty powerful effect during the day. More powerful than you would expect normally to see it. So here is the story so far today. Quite a bit of lightning there off the East Coast. You can see a little bit of a storm there that's affecting the East Coast. As you saw, you can see the Alberta Clipper now moving down into Ontario, and they're getting their special weather statements in place that we looked at earlier. You can see this high pressure is really blocking the specific flow. These storms are going up towards the Aleutians. There's a conflict between this high pressure and these lows. These lows are going to win. They're going to push that high down, and we're going to get a real snowstorm this week. We'll just watch it on blue mode to give you just a little bit of a picture here. You can see it's nice and clear throughout most of BC, although here in the Caribbean it's starting to cloud up, and northern BC starting to cloud up as that flow is now beginning to break its way in. As you saw, like the last few days, that flow was much higher, and it was bringing that warmer weather into the new Northwest Territories and the Yukon, bringing that when it was coming down on this direction, a little bit further this way, so bringing that warm weather to Uranium City, that Pacific flow. We're watching that now take a bit of a beating southward. It's being driven southward. It's fighting this high, and it's going to win. We'll watch how it wins now on ECMWF modeling at least. So already by 1300 hours, you're seeing northern BC having some of that snow spill into it. You're seeing that low butting up against the coast. It's not a very deep low. It's not very well developed. It's just enough to help keep pulling things along, help giving this guy some direction for where it wants to go next. So it's trying to pave the way. It's trying to pave the way in, and we'll see how successful it is. It won't break into the south. No, this first low, it won't. It'll push into the north. You can see Ontario there taking its beating by the time we're coming into the evening on Tuesday, which it is Tuesday right now. So it's on the 28th. There's your snowfall warnings for Stewart, for areas north of Terrace. You can see lots of rainfall on the coast. You can see now that band of snow going right to the Peace. Northern BC seeing fairly significant snowfall rates through the evening, but nothing like you are seeing where the snowfall warnings are in effect. Heavy precipitation for the Terrace area. I'm surprised there's not some kind of a statement on that right now. Wednesday morning, it's moving on down. Terrace wakes up still, like we said last forecast, to a nice pounding from the Pacific. That low, first low, moving through Fort Nelson, getting lots of weather. -8 in Watson Lake in the morning, -5 in Fort Nelson on Wednesday. Pretty nice. Most southern BC still saying away from that low now pushing into Alberta. Fort McMurray will see its snow high level all through that band. It'll eventually make its way towards Flin Flon, Manitoba. Now, Prince George, Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, look forward to maybe a little bit of snow coming through at when you're ready for your commute home and whatnot at night. So that's some snow to look forward to here in Wells. It's already clouding up here. I can already tell you just by looking at the sky, even if I didn't look at any modeling or anything. I woke up and looked at the sky today, look at what it was doing last night. I'd tell you, well, we're 24 to 48 hours from something, and this is what I would say was going to happen. So it's possible. I mean, that's how I started my life as a weatherman. I just looked at the sky and learned what it was telling me enough, and I started being able to make broader and broader understandings further and further away from my current position. Thursday afternoon, snowfall, Quesnel probably, McBride down that highway corridor there, the 16 over to Burns Lake, looking at some snow. Coast Mountains, yeah, maybe a band through the evening into Kamloops as that new low is now approaching, the one we were talking about earlier, making some snow for the mountains on the island, making some rain for Vancouver. Now, Friday morning, 1 a.m., that snowstorm starting to dig in, starting to bring us all kinds of misery all across the board. And not one area in southern BC should be without precipitation at some point as we come into Friday. Some of that heavy stuff. Look at some of that heavy stuff. I don't think you want to have much for travel plans on Friday or Friday evening. I think this is coming a little quicker than maybe we indicated. I think before we were looking at like really being a Friday late afternoon evening start. This to me seems like you wake up on Friday, you're going to be having it. So I think we're starting to be able to rely on now. We're getting closer and closer. We're starting to be able to have a better and better, more accurate picture. As you can see overnight and Friday, there may be gaps in the snow through the Caribou South and down to 100 Mile House and whatnot, but those gaps shouldn't last too long because look at this storm pattern now is really taking over the western half of Canada all the way towards even Winnipeg, seeing this band of snow as this low is trying to force its way in, trying to establish itself, trying to become, an Alberta clipper, not having a lot of success. Sure, that precip going all the way down into Northern California, the south not getting enough of it, no. So you can see this battle, this low is trying to force its way through Saturday, and what's really happening is a new one just establishes itself where this old guy still seems kind of trapped through this instability. This setup isn't quite done. And you can see now, because there's cold enough air up there in behind this guy, that it's making snowfall even if you're out in the ocean for Sunday morning. Even Vancouver Island, even areas like Vancouver itself this weekend will probably see a little bit of snow, which for them, a lot of them don't have winter tires. It's not required. can be very disastrous. Vancouver is generally not prepared for any amount of snow, as you know from the past. Look at that atmospheric river reaching Northern California. They are going to be absolutely hammered through the weekend. They're going to see a lot of rain for them especially. That's good for Northern California, but Southern California is where they need it. They just had some. That's good. New low forming again Sunday afternoon, trying to establish itself. So we're just watching this now and watching how it's diving south of the prairies, but you're watching how, one after another, these lows are trying to get in on through. This is feeding off this Pacific moisture tap, so now the atmospheric river is kind of reaching right up and trying to join this guy. That doesn't matter too much for our purposes. Look what it said right there, minus 28, minus 31. What happened there? Whoa, everybody. Well, we're going to rewind for a second, have a look at temperatures, and see where things are going quickly in behind this guy, right? So here's our low, and this is what's helping to make this low angry, is look at these warm temperatures coming in on the bottom side of it. Nice warm flow, 10 degrees Celsius, carrying lots of humidity with that. If we were to look at precipitable water, this would be a big signal here. So it's coming in here, and we got the cold in behind. That's making these lows. That's keeping them alive. So by already on Friday afternoon, Fort Nelson, you're going to be stupidly cold. You're used to it, but what a fluctuation from plus 11 to minus 23. Well, it's going to get worse for you, I'll tell you that. And it depends. Like 24, okay, not too bad for Saturday morning. You've seen much worse this winter, but you're going to see worse yet. Already Prince George by Saturday afternoon getting that cold. Williams Lake seeing minus 17, seeing Vernon down to 1 degrees. This low putting moisture in. So some of that snowfall that I'm talking about for Vancouver, you're probably going to see some of that for sure. I mean, at 3 degrees, maybe at SFU, maybe in North Van, maybe further inland towards Chilliwack, whatever. The lower mainland, prepare yourself for some snow. Even Vancouver Island, prepare yourself for the possibility of some snow. Even if it's not a great deal, it can be, given what you're used to there, bad enough. Lots of snow Saturday into Alberta. Wow, so what's going on with the temperatures? Back to that story. In behind, there's Williams Lake. So this low is trying to drag this cold down. Look at that outflow out to the Pacific. So there's inflow here still, but there's outflow there. We can watch that cold coming on down. Ooh, Saturday evening, 24 for Prince George, 25 for John, 26 in high level. McMurray, 27. Edmonton now seeing 21. Calgary starting to get cold Sunday morning. Next, polar vortex is coming on through. We got storms that have really destabilized where the Arctic cold is and wants to send it on through. We got areas in the Arctic that are warmer than they should be, and the cold air is not where it should be. It's coming to us instead. It's bullshit, but that's often what happens in wintertime in Canada. We got to deal with it this winter. Seen a lot of these Arctic outbreaks. We've been watching the jet stream go up and down, boom, 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 all winter long, and being very inconsistent with the kind of weather we see. Well, there you go. Sunday morning. This is Sunday evening. Sorry, this is very bad. 30 for Prince George, 29 in Quesnel. It may get colder than that. McBride seeing 34. Sorry about your luck. Even Kamloops seeing down to 20. Possibly Revelstoke 22. Possibly Monday morning going to be very cold. 31. Prince George probably going to break through, it's saying, into the 30s. So that's probably the first time all winter for you. Absolutely. Fort St. John, they've been colder than Prince George than here in Wells. That's the thing. They've had a bunch of times where they've been in the 20s when we still didn't break into 20 here in the mountains. So the next forecast discussions we're going to be having is how long does it stay for? What's it going to look like? And we'll have more on that as we get going. There's different solutions in the modeling. So still we're not exactly sure, but this now looks like it wants to hold on in southern BC longer than I want it to. So I'm hoping that we see some change in the modeling. I'm hoping that we see some return to the Pacific flow. I'm hoping this high pressure that's established here, if it moves out to the Pacific, that's going to take a lot longer for it to get broken down. So I don't think there's a lot of confidence for past the next 6 days, but I think we're pretty sure storms are going to happen, as we said, through this week and into the weekend, and the cold's going to follow in behind that. Absolutely, I'd bet money on that in Vegas. I have no problem saying that. How long it takes for a low to beat that high back, that's what's up in the air for the future. When we get back to a snowfall trend in BC, that's what's up in the air. We need it to come sooner in February. I don't want to wait to the 10th to have snowfall. I don't want to have this length of cold, because this length of cold, although we have open ice in places, we need the precipitation. We need the snowfall. So it's great if this cold visits only long enough to make for snowfall. That's what I would really like to see. What are we looking at for totals? Tuesday, 4 p.m., all that snow mostly in that very northwest corner, right? Go to Tuesday evening and start to see that reach a little bit further out towards Fort Nelson, Terrace, and the mountains there, seeing snow around you in the evening cold. Band of snow by the time you get into Wednesday afternoon into the north. Still not quite made it to Prince George yet by that time, where the snow continued from there. So already by that point, you should have seen by Thursday at 3 in the morning, 42 centimeters at the low end in some of those areas in the mountains in the northwest. Watch some of that precip has made its way to the Caribou for Thursday morning. Man, Prince George may be seeing a little bit of it at times on Wednesday night. Like I said, Caribou, there you go. A little bit of snow for you, Caribou. I know you really, really need it. A little bit of snow, and then now we see on Friday the signal really picks up, and we see how much is it going to be. Looks like most everywhere in BC going to see some of this, and we'll go right straight through to Sunday because that's when we know the cold's coming, and basically this will stop. And now we'll have a look. What are we looking at for the next bunch of days? It doesn't matter that it says Tuesday. We know there won't be any snow past that point. Next bunch of days, 67 centimeters in some places in the mountains, up to 70, 80 centimeters, sure, maybe over a meter in these mountains along BC coast. A little bit of snow, almost everywhere seeing a little bit of snow. Even the low areas seeing 6 centimeters. That's not enough. It's not enough. That's the thing. But, okay, in the mountains, 30 cents. We could really use that here. We need it desperately up and through the Revelstoke, in the Rogers Pass area. Maybe a foot of snow for you there. In the Kootenays, maybe more than a foot in some of your high totals. Looking at the high end for you there. But it looks like everywhere in BC is going to see a little bit of this snow. It's really good news. We need much, much more of it. Even Kamloops, maybe you'll see a dusting, but this isn't significant. No, there's a wide stretch there in the dry sector of BC that's still not going to get significant snow. We don't think yet, but it's not out of the question. That could translate differently by the time we get there. But even Vancouver itself, could we see 9 centimeters in the lower mainland? Wow, so that's interesting. Bigger snowfall totals projected for the lower mainland than for lots of these places in the Caribou, Kamloops, Chilcotin, and even down through the Okanagan, right? And these are areas you expect to not see a lot of snow. I mean, these are dry parts of BC. The mountains protect them, and the precipitation likes to land in the mountains. But look at that. Even through low areas of Vancouver Island, could you see? Wow. So look at that. These are snowfall totals we're not used to seeing on Vancouver Island. Unbelievable. Look at that. Banfield could be looking at some significant snow. So we'll see how much of that is rain. We'll see how much of that is snow. It'll most certainly start as rain for you. And how long that transition takes, and then how much of it actually stays in the ground. Those are all different things, but should be cold enough that snow will stay in a lot of places for a bunch of days after this. That Arctic cold is coming on in, and it's taking no prisoners. Missing 21-year-old snowboarder found dead on Cypress Mountain. He was missing since Friday. He was found dead in a gully, reported at 10:45 a.m. He was last seen on one of the resort runs. This is very sad. Statements, they made an extensive search. Local ski patrol, North Shore Rescue, when they finally found him, adjacent to Collins Run. It's a green run leading back to the Lions Express chairlift. Sergeant Chris Bigland of West Vancouver Police Department says in the statement that life-saving actions were taken immediately, but the man was pronounced dead at the scene. Yeah, of course, investigation's been turned over to BC Coroner Service. They did not say when the body was found. And we don't know, but the cause of death could be exposure or something like that. Anyways, incident in the mountains worth noting. A young man lost his life, and that's a terrible thing. Looking at avalanche information right now, I thought this was pretty cool because I actually know the person who made this report. This is the only report since the last time we made any avalanche any avalanche talk on this channel. This is the only report since. So there was like a flurry of minor avalanche incidents when the season started. But yeah, Lilka. Okay, so what's Lilka saying? We got this one right here. This is where it happened. It's in the northwest sector, BC. It's some of the only places we've seen actually bad conditions. So there you go, just in those mountains to the east of Morristown, and north of Smithers there. So now I just give you an idea where it is. So there's 2 people in the group. One person was involved. They were not injured. They were caught but not buried. So that's really good news. Care about my friends. This is at the base of the slide. So look at a bit of a slide there. There doesn't seem to be rocks or trees and things that they would have been swept into. That's a big, even when you're not getting buried, a big thing is what are you going to hit as you're out of control, being caught up in the current of things. So glad to hear you're okay there, Lilka. Really glad to hear you're okay. Shout out to you from the Caribou Weather Dude to everybody out there in all parts of British Columbia. Let's look out for each other. Look out for each other. Look out for our communities. Look out for people. Be what Canadians are. We're in this together. I don't care if you think that's socialism or not. God damn you if you think it is, because really that's how humanity gets by. That's just the basic principle of survival is take care of each other. And we all benefit from it. Okay, hit like, share, subscribe. Take care of me. If you want, hit the thanks button or become a channel member, join Patreon, and we'll get back to you with more bad news when we do. Okay, bye for now.